Hey everyone, look what we got. Yeah! So we thought we'd do a quick video, and again this is a new format for us, so bear with us as we work this one out.
It's probably going to be absolutely loads that goes wrong, but doesn't matter.
So what we've got is the Triumvirate of the...
Triumvirate.
Yeah. Triumvirate.
Yeah, it's got an I in it.
Let's go again then.
No, it's fine. Triumvirate. Yeah, Triumvirate of the...
Triumvirate
yeah.
of the Primarch.
Yes.
Primarch?
Primarch, yeah, he's a Primarch.
So it's the Triumvirate.
It's the Triumvirate.
Oh, there's three of them.
Right, it says Triumvirate of the Primarch on the front of it.
The Triumvirate of the Primarch. And what you got there, Sam?
And we got the book. So this is Rise of the Primarch. So picked those up this morning.
Primarch?
Yes, this Primarch, Guilliman. So we're basically going to go through. We've got the book. It's got absolutely tons of story in it. The first 100 pages is all background and cool pictures and artwork and stuff. So that's that. And then after that there's a bunch of rules. So you've got some formations. You've got rules for using Guilliman himself, as well as Cypher and the Paladin guy. What's his name?
It's got to be in here somewhere. Grandmaster Voldus.
So we've got rules for him as well. So they're pretty cool. So the first thing we're going to do is go with the models. We're going to have a look inside and see what the sprue actually looks like, because we don't know what you can do with it yet. Neither of us have actually looked at it, have we?
No. So we literally are quite excited to be opening this. So right, it's one of the new box designs. We've got the other two Triumvirates, and they are boxed in exactly the same manner, which is this kind of inner and outer box. So you kind of have to get both of the flaps out, otherwise you tear it, depending on whether you're worried about tearing your box.
It's a box. We just care about the models.
You care about the models. Yeah. I like the box. There's artwork on the box, you see. So let's pull this out.
Inside the box. Or on the box.
Well, it's kind of in a sleeve. There we go, anyway.
Oh wow, okay, that's pretty cool.
So what we got?
So basically, some really nice looking artwork in there.
Yeah, I mean look at the size of this guy compared to these.
Well, he should be huge. He's a Primarch at the end of the day, so... If he was like Cypher size, I'd probably ask for my money back.
This whole get up above as well, the backpack.
He's got a super-sized iron halo. And the Emperor's sword as well, so that's pretty cool. Nice artwork in there.
Okay, what else is in the box? I'm not going to look at the models yet. We've got the instruction manual, and as with more recent releases now, these are in full colour, which is really great for putting these things together, particularly the more complex models, and the fact that they sort of colour tone these separate bits to draw your attention to where you're gluing to, etc.
It's really just good stuff. Much more guidance when it comes to building these.
Something I've just noticed, this looks like a really nice base.
Like a Forge World base.
Yeah, we've got the Aquilia head and all the rest going off. This is good. And they also include the stats.
So you've got all the rules in the back of this as well. So you don't necessarily need the book. You don't need the Rise of the Primarch book to play this, but you do get a bunch of extra stuff in there. Okay, so we're just going to have a quick look at the sprues, because I'm pretty excited.
I'm already trying to get it out of the box.
We'll start with Guilliman.
Start with Guilliman, the big man. Okay, so...
I mean, that's his base already. Like you said, that's a Forge World base. Yeah. It's not as chunky as the Forge World bases, but you've got this Aquila, well, this eagle head that slots onto there, so that looks really, really nice.
Yeah.
And the destroyed body, I don't know what that is, it looks like some sort of Chaos Marine. But the actual...
What do you think to these prosthetic legs?
I mean, in terms of building an Orc war boss, that in particular is going to be amazing. You just cut off the little sprues there and maybe orcify it up over here, but you've got a brilliant war boss there.
That's fantastic. Obviously, that's not what it's meant to do. These pauldrons attached to the leg pauldrons attached to that, don't they? So that's you could. I mean, his legs the size of a marine. This is incredible.
It's huge. I mean, my favourite part so far is this power fist. You can see all of the detail that's on the palm of his hand, and every single part of that is amazing. You don't see that on the picture.
But let's just look at these two pieces down here: the sword and the shoulder pauldron. Turn that around so you get a sense of it. Is just ginormous.
It's
I mean,
huge.
let's just compare that to a 40mm base for a second, and you can just see that it is huge.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Actually, I think that fist, the sword, and the shoulder pad, those 3 bits. We haven't got to his head yet, but those 3 bits look really, really good.
Amazing stuff.
Cool stuff. Let's go to the next sprig. There doesn't seem to be much left in the box, but the other guys are tiny compared to him, so that's why.
He's pretty much most of the box. Okay, right. What have we got here?
What is that?
That's the backpack, isn't it? That's amazing. So these are the wings we've seen in the illustration that reach around the backpack, and that stand in front of the iron halo, which is here, isn't it?
Yeah.
That just looks great.
I don't know what this bit is. That's his backpack.
That is the backpack. Which, of course, you know, from what we know from the sneak previews that GW have done, some kind of life support system as well, isn't it? And we know there's rules that...
Yes, Mechanicum base. So you've got the Adeptus Mechanicum symbol on the back of there. So this has been constructed for him to stay alive in, pretty much. And you can see all of these. I mean, when I built my Emperor model, I had the same idea. I'm not saying they stole it, but they stole it.
Yeah, probably stole it.
Yeah, I mean, Mechanicum, I was expecting to resurrect the Emperor, but they've done it to the Guilliman instead, so it's nice to see all of those influences on the model.
Okay. Where's his head?
There he is. He's tiny.
There's his head. Well, it's not, yeah, it's slightly bigger than the Marines.
It does look like Joffrey from Game of Thrones. It's like an adult Joffrey. Do you not think?
Yeah, I can kind of see the resemblance.
But there is a helmeted head as well.
Yeah, which would you go for?
The helmet head, because I don't like Joffrey.
What, just personally you don't like it? I mean, have you met him or...?
I just don't like the character.
Okay.
They did a great job in Game of Thrones making me hate him. So I would go for the helmet, and I'd probably use that other head on something else. They're a bit smaller than the 4-jaw Primarchs, aren't they?
What, the heads?
In terms of scale, yeah, those heads, I don't know actually, we need one to hand to have a look. So that's it, I mean, he's got a huge iron halo on the back of there, but nice bits.
And what's this going up on the details here? I mean, again, lots
Legs,
of little
groins.
pipes, lots of little connectors. I'm assuming that's what the backpack fits to, this little spike here, isn't it? And again, lots of detail on there.
Yep.
This is just looking good.
I just like the idea that you can actually convert this now. I was worried that it was going to be quite a monopose model. You didn't have much room for converting, but you can chop off all of these bits and repose him. And I think if I was going to get one for myself, I would be chopping him up and reposing him.
Criminal.
Because that's what I do. Okay, so that's Guilliman done. We're going to go on to the next one now.
Right, let's start with the Grand Master, I think. Just we'll leave the Mother Mystery to one side for now.
Keep forgetting his name.
This is Grand Master. Let me get a
Voldus,
so
I
it's
think.
just Voldus, indeed. So Grand Master Voldus.
Chunky.
He's a big guy.
Quite a
Yes.
big bit of plastic there. I really like him.
It's interesting. I don't think we've appreciated, or at least I've appreciated, the size of this guy, because every time I've seen him in the context of the Primarch model.
And he's in the standard Grey Knight Paladin colours. He's just silver, and he just looks like
Yeah.
another silver Grey Knight, but actually looking at the sprue, he's a big chunk of plastic, and I really like all of this ornate stuff around his waist. He's got a lot of detail. You wouldn't need to do much. Some base colours and some washers, and he'll be good to go.
Yeah.
And on his back here, I love how that book's properly strapped to his back. He's
It's
got a
huge.
really nice cape. He's supposed to be like a really powerful psyker, so it makes sense that he's got the biggest book.
Yeah. More book, more pages.
It
more
means he's
psychic
more
power.
powerful, yeah. In terms of being a psyker, the bigger the book you carry, the
Well,
better.
Book of Magnus.
But he also carries
It's no
that.
bigger book.
Well, the bigger, yeah, I suppose Magnus has got a big book. He's got a library.
Fair.
So he's got a big hammer as well.
Yeah, I quite like how the fact that the shaft on that hammer isn't too long as well. I mean, it's all about...
It is. It goes down to there.
Oh my god, right. It adds
It's
up.
a normal sized thunder hammer,
Oh.
but it is a special weapon.
Okay.
I wouldn't like it if it was just that.
Really? I quite like... Yeah, okay.
It's too top heavy.
I'd probably just snip this off.
Go for
Leave
it.
behind.
Try it. I mean, his head. That looks like Ulrich the Slayer to me. In the Grey Knight box, you get a librarian-looking head with all these cables coming off it. It looks like they've taken Ulrich the Slayer's head and put that bit of Grey Knight on it, but it looks good. Ulrich the Slayer is an awesome head.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, that head looks like pretty much as big as the Primarch's head, doesn't it? There's a Rebute.
It's very close.
So they're definitely going with this kind of, you know, larger body, larger mass, but the head being a similar size. And you know, if you go back to some of the old lore, that was kind of the case. The head got a little bit bigger, but most of the augmentation took place in the chest cavity and the muscle structure and just the overall size of them. But they were a little bit sort of pinheady. That was kind of the style. So, you know, maybe the Primarchs don't need a ginormous head.
I mean,
you can see there's not much in it between those two, is there?
I think it's actually smaller. That helmeted head especially. It might be because of the bulk around the neck, but...
Yeah, we're seeing it out of context from where it fits as well, aren't we?
All I'm seeing is I could convert my Guilliman to look like somebody else and it wouldn't look too far from a Primarch.
Yeah.
So...
Okay.
That's Voldus. So we're going to go on to Cypher.
Cypher, yeah. I mean... Before we go anywhere, I mean, this is an interesting choice in terms of the cross section, isn't it? That's a huge piece. There's a lot going off there. The head's in there, the arms in there, the cloak's in there, the inner cloak. Hey, it's interesting.
I mean, in terms of the one that you had, you built your Cypher model. Yours was a lot thinner than this guy. We'll put him underneath again. We'll take a look at that. But like you say, it's wide. It's a massive model. It's quite dynamic. That sword is a Primarch sword.
Yeah. I say yes, but let's have a look at it alongside this Guilliman one, because I've always felt that, you know, that hilt.
It's broken.
I get it's broken, but let's just compare those two hilts.
It's the same.
Really?
That's a Primarch sword. Isn't it?
To me, I think there's a bit too much going off there on the hilt. It's kind of, they've gone the opposite. That's twice as wide as Guilliman's hilt, look. That's the Emperor's sword. I mean, that's...
Is it the Emperor's, or is it
it's the Emperor's flaming sword. That's the Lion's sword. Yeah. I mean, maybe he has a really ginormous sword.
Well, that's magical. This one's not.
That's got the kind of double-handed broadsword thing going on.
It's like a medieval.
Okay.
Nice
I think
weapon.
I'd have been happy if it was a little bit smaller, but
I like it. I like the idea that if we ever see the lion, he's going to have a massive two-handed.
He better have big hands.
Because
that's all I'm
the
saying.
other thing is that the one that Guilliman's holding is is wielding it with one hand.
Yeah. Okay.
If somebody's going to have a big great sword, you want it to be big.
Fair enough.
So he's got his two pistols. They're really nice actually, because you went to a lot of effort to try and sort your ornate pistols out on your conversion.
Yeah, this plasma pistol's great. I love it. You know, the bolt pistol, we saw that in the sneak previews, didn't we? You know, that was one of those...
I never saw it.
Yeah, it was one of those... what are they called? Let's just... I think I remember.
Archaeotech?
No, I can't remember where GW do the sneak preview.
Oh, Rumour Mill. Rumour Engine or whatever
Rumour
it is.
Engine thing, wasn't it?
And the front of that actually is really nice. How that cloak is flowing out from there. Actually, I'm liking this really, like, a lot more than I thought I would. And you can see the rest of the blade goes down onto the back.
Yeah.
And I love that tattered cape.
Yeah, it's a great model. There's not much room for conversion, of course. This is very much single pose. You're not going to see much going off. And I think that's what surprised me, is how few components. He's almost a snap fit. But saying that, you don't mind.
He's dynamic anyway. He's got enough detail.
It's so well posed.
The only one that I would bother reposing would probably have been Guilliman.
Yeah.
And the fact that I can do that means it's good.
Yeah, there's plenty of room to repose Guilliman in looking at that sprue.
So that's all of the sprues. Really nice models. I don't know whether I'm going to be building any or if you're going to do them all.
No, I think we can share this one out, can't we?
Which ones do you want to do the most?
I know you want to do Cypher.
No. Honestly, you pick one. Which one do you want to do the most?
I'd like to have a go at Guilliman.
Are you going to chop him up?
You want to chop him up?
No, I'm not chopping this up. I'll chop my own up.
You know what? I've got my own Triumvirate to go for, because I did pick up the Eldar one, and I've got plenty in there. So maybe you just go for all three of these. I do my Triumvirate, and we'll do a showcase at the end of how
the problem with me doing Guilliman means I'll have Ultramarine army.
Well, it's just going to happen. Magic.
Because you can't just have a Primarch. I mean, he says he can go with all armors of the Imperium.
Oh, of course.
So.
Yeah. But it's.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so that's sprues. We'll get them out of the way, and we'll go into the book. And first part is right. So in terms of, you've got your content. So like I said before, there's 100 pages of background. and there's quite a lot of there. There's 3 chapters, and there's a lot of story in there. So if you wanted to pick this up just for reading through and getting up to date with the campaign, that's something you can do straight away.
And is that something they do? Do they recap over what's happened so far?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go through the other 2 books as much, but there's definitely a recap on this first page. It's got an Age of Legends, and that goes into the basics. So it tells you about the Cadia Gate.
You've had more time with this book than me, so tell me some of your favourite bits then.
It's all about trying to resurrect Guilliman. So I think his name was Call, the Mechanicum.
Yeah.
The Mechanicum dude, the huge guy. His whole mission is just trying to resurrect Guilliman, and Chaos are pushing through, and they're trying to. I think they're in Ultramar basically, and they're holding them off as long as they can. So it's really cool. It's quite cinematic, and it ends up with all the heroes in the throne room with Guilliman towards the end, and he gets resurrected at the last minute and just stomps on everybody, pushes all of the chaos back. It's really awesome, and he says, "I'm off to Terra."
So, what does he do when he gets to Terra?
Turns up, and the custodians open the door and just stand aside and let him walk into the throne room. Guilliman just walks in. He's got all of the rest of the heroes with him. We're going to take the fight to all of the aliens. Interestingly enough, he's like, we're going to fight chaos, we're going to fight aliens, we're going to fight mutants, literally everything. Even though there's all these aliens that have helped him along the way, he's like, yeah, we're just going to go and kill them all. And it ends with him saying, well, it's saying in the book, there's never been a fleet or an army as big as this since the Great Crusade. So it looks like it's going to go back out into the galaxy and start purging everything.
So we're seeing, and this might be about 8th edition coming, we're seeing a paradigm shift. We're seeing no longer potentially the Imperium on retreat or in defense mode, sort of just holding on to what it's got. We're seeing kind of a more optimistic future under this leadership, which ties in with what the Eldar were talking about at the end of Book 2, really, of saying the Imperium needs someone to lead it from the front.
Yeah, not just a corpse.
I mean, is this the end times? Not in a sense that everything's got destroyed, but in a sense that what that represented from Warhammer Fantasy to Age of Sigmar was a shift from essentially chaos attacking and the good races defending.
Yeah.
And now Sigmar, they've kind of reversed that, haven't they? It's in many respects it's now the Sigmar armies coming forward, retaking land, and an expansionism rather than.
It does feel like Age of Sigmar without deleting the world. I mean,
Yeah.
That's the big thing. They've done almost a reset. They've progressed the story like they did with Age of Sigmar, while keeping all of the characters and planets in place that everybody loves. So I think they must have realised from the initial step of Age of Sigmar, everyone slated it. They didn't like change. They didn't like that everything they've been doing for 30, 40 years had been destroyed. And with this, it's not been destroyed. It is literally, here's the story, this is what's happening now.
So it's not so grim and it's not so dark.
No.
I think this is interesting, isn't it? Because, obviously 40k has always been about the grim dark, and I think the reality is it is still grim and it is still dark. But what this represents for me, for any Imperium player, any Imperial player, is there's a glimmer of hope. And there hasn't been a glimmer of hope for the Imperium for a long time, has there?
Well, it just felt like a bombardment of chaos is forever destroying
You've
stuff.
got the Hive fleets coming in, you've
Necrons are
got
gonna wake up.
Necrons waking up, you've got chaos marauding out of the Eye of Terror. And it was all a question of not if but when will humanity fall. That's and you've got the rot within as well, haven't you? And anything from the Gene Stealer cult risings and all the rest. Whereas now you've got something that represents a little bit of hope for players, I suppose. And like you say, it's not really changed the game. It's not changed the game in any fundamental way.
The story feels current.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, the story it's in every codex. You've got a little snippet, but there's no real sense of direction with it. Whereas this is literally like, oh, here's a not even a campaign. It feels like this is the story now, which you've got with Age of Sigmar. So just going to go through. There's a couple bits of artwork in there which are really, really nice. Like I say, there's loads of story, and there's quite a lot to read in here. There's I mean, there's pages and pages and pages of background, so there's a lot to read. I'm going to have to go through and read all this.
Yeah.
Every single page.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to spend a couple of days with this really and bend our head around the rules, get to know the background story a bit better between us. We'll do a session on having a look at the rules.
Yeah,
see
I mean,
how
I think
these
we'll
work
get
in the game.
Pink involved because Pink loves talking about the rules. I mean, I think most of the basics have gone up online already. There's been leaks and all sorts.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you've seen that Guilliman is an absolute beast. He's for what he does, he's really cheap and is amazing. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay, well that's it for now. Thank you for watching. We'd really appreciate, of course, if you're not already subscribed, then hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on our Facebook page, and keep coming along.
Comments and criticism as well. Obviously, this is our first unboxing, and it's not a full review, but we'd like to know what you think about it, what we can do better, and what you liked about it, and then we can aim to do some changes for the future.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Bye.